Hello, everybody, dear customers on Connect. And as you have heard now, the key IT trends about infinite network adopting remote and virtual access to networks. And I'm here today with Simon Wolting, who's services sales for international markets. And Simon, I'm really curious to understand how extreme services can help to understand the full value of investments to have a simple, intuitive, and consistent experience. And what I have heard about extreme premier services, that there are mainly key benefits, right? One is this really direct vendor support engagement. There is a premier delivery manager, and this all leads into faster case resolution in case some issues are. And what I'm really curious to understand from you, do you think there's a specific profile of customers where you think the extreme premier offering could help?
Thanks, Jan. Yeah, actually, very good summary you just gave about the highlights of Premier support. What we basically see is that network has become a critical asset really for everybody, right? For every enterprise environment, the networking has become critical. And really what we're doing with Premier support, we're increasing network uptime and therefore also business uptime for the customer. So in a nutshell, it's important for everybody, right? So Premier could be applied for in the healthcare vertical, in the finance vertical, manufacturing, service provider, others. And also we are basically having the customer benefit from this across all of our technology, right? Data center, the campus, but also the wireless edge. So any customer interested, when you listen to Extreme Connect, really any of those customers where the business uptime is critical.
Okay, no, that's very good, Simon. So it looks like it's for a lot of different customers, it could be a good solution. And I know there are roughly 18 deliverables on Premier overall. So what do you think, which elements of the Premier offering is most beneficial for many customers we have?
Yeah, so when we look at the traditional way of providing support, as most customers will recognize, it's been fairly reactive, right? So there is an issue in the network, you start troubleshooting, you come to the conclusion that you need support from either the partner or directly from Extreme. You make a call into GTech, we check the serial number, we start working on the issue, etc., etc. The Premier support takes a much more proactive approach to support. It starts with an annual health check and an onboarding health check. So maybe make sure the network is in a good state when we onboard, and we check that on an annual basis. And we conduct bi-weekly calls between the Premier delivery manager, which is the service delivery manager, and the customer, in which we go over closed cases, open cases, escalations, but also firmware levels that have been released by Extreme that may be relevant for the customer. We support the customer with larger network changes. So you're not on your own when you make that important change during a planned work window, but Extreme has been helping you to plan for that change and to support you, throughout the window and afterwards. So it's really a different way to support. It's proactive and it's also very personalized. And the person that is responsible for that is your assigned Premier delivery manager. Each Premier delivery manager has only a very small number of accounts to handle, and it's literally the advocate of the customer within Extreme. If an issue would come up, we also have an element in place where we resolve the cases more quickly. So a reduced response time. As an example, if there is a C1 or a C2 issue, which is a critical network issue, if that's opened by phone, we will immediately acknowledge the case. We have also a mechanism in place to prioritize ExtremeWorks Premier cases, so it's resolved more quicker. And also we have increased the case frequency for communicating back to the customer. So all in all, proactive, Premier delivery manager, and faster case resolution. And these are typically seen as the most beneficial elements for the customer.
Oh, Simon, this sounds great, and this sounds really that the Extreme delivery team really takes a big burden away from the customer to really focus on their business objectives and really make their life a lot easier going forward. So let me ask you one question based on experience with existing Extreme customers who are enjoying Premier. So what do you think an existing Premier customers would tell Extreme Premier prospects when they would talk together at, for example, Connect?
Yeah, so a feedback that we very often get from customers, they say we actually like or love the personal approach to support, right? I just mentioned that, we take it from reactive to a really proactive approach of support, but also a lot of customers say, well, actually, the fact that I have a person to call, a Premier delivery manager, that I know that he or she will be available 24/7. I don't have to call around, number of people, go through my whole phone book to check who in Extreme should I contact, having multiple people, starting initiating all kind of threats of escalation. No, to know there's a single point of contact, literally, and he or she is literally available 24/7. And of course, that is in conjunction with the normal approach to support that we have with our Global Technical Assistance Center. So the Global Technical Assistance Center engineers, the GTEC engineers, they have access to customer-specific information. And that's really important, right? So we want to avoid that when you make that call into GTEC, that, hey, this is all new for the GTEC engineer. No, we want to make sure that, he has the contextual knowledge about your specific environment. And that's at his or her fingertips. That is at his or her fingertips. So that makes it very personal. And another thing that I had a number of customers tell me, they said, well, what's always very challenging for us is any larger changes that we make in the network, right? And this could be a larger network upgrade. It could be a change to the topology. It could be a change to the routing scheme. Any of a significant nature that could impact the business. And typically that's obviously a planned activity, right? It's planned weeks or months up front. There is a freeze window that maybe applications are being impacted, typically taking time from people in the weekend. So all eyes are on. You want to ensure, as an IT manager, as an IT director, as the operations team, that this is executed flawless, that there is always a backup plan to bail out to the original situation. Now, the way Extreme handles that is one of our engineers will make a specific network change validation document, a written document, in which we outline the change, our best practices, our recommendations. And when necessary, we bring on board proactive spares, or we open proactively a GTEC case. So GTEC is aware that change is going to happen. And then together with the customer, we do also a pre-change health check. So, for example, are you on a common release? Is this the appropriate release to make that particular change, etc. And that's a feedback that we had a lot. We said customers basically saying, hey, I feel much more at ease with those changes that are being made, which are always critical, impacting, and very impactful for that environment. So very good feedback, specifically on the personalized element of it and the element of reducing risk.
Okay, Simon, this sounds really good. And what I feel is that the customers who enjoy Premier have can sleep at night much better, will have higher uptimes. And what I think we should really recommend for Premier customers, which might want to enjoy it, talk to other customers who already have it, right? Because Absolutely. This seems to be a great support. So one final question I would have for you, as obviously on Connect, we learned a lot about Extreme and its subscription, right? Go Cloud, Go Pilot, Go Navigator. So do you think if a customer decides to go subscription, would Premier be a benefit for those at all? Yeah, absolutely, Jan. So as described in other sessions at Extreme Connect, XIQ is a very important part of the portfolio, and Premier support is what we call a network level support, right? So it's not bits and pieces that we are supporting. The Premier Delivery Manager takes an overall approach and is available for any issues in the network.
Now, as XIQ is an important element of that, obviously it's also covered or should also be covered by Premier Support and the activities that the Premier Delivery Manager handles. And with XIQ, we actually collectively get much more insight, collectively as between the customer and Extreme, a lot more insight into the customer's network. Having a single dashboard, which will help us understand your network better, basically have a better understanding of what is going on in the network. And as you may have heard with Copilot, for example, there is this possibility where we detect anomalies in the network. We detect anomalies in the network and correlate them as the network is progressing over time. And this is information that we can discuss together with the customer and gives a lot of insight. Now, next step on XIQ, obviously, when you are, for example, a retail customer, you may be using the functionality of locationing, which gives a business insight for you, which is also important for us, right? So we get a better understanding of how you're using the network and what is important for you. And that circles back to that first point, right? What is it that Extreme brings with Premier Support? It is really that proactive way of working, a closer way of working with the customer, a more focus on basically business uptime at the end of the day.
Simon, this sounds very good, and I would really thank you for these insights and your real-world experience. And what I can recommend is really to every customer, take a look at Extreme's webpage, talk to us, talk to your sales rep to learn about Extreme services around Extreme Premier. And yeah, maybe Extreme Premier can help you to reach your business outcomes in a much better way, in a much more efficient way than you do today. So Simon, thanks very much. I think it was very, very insightful. And yeah, have a good rest of your conference. Thanks very much, everybody.